Hey guys, I wanted to do a video that's a little bit different than something I've done in the past, and that is talk about one of my favorite types of video game consoles, and that's handhelds, right after this. Something that I find that I do a little bit more frequently now that I'm older is being able to play in my living room, and that requires me to play with handhelds. And I've got a vast collection, I guess in my opinion, of different handheld systems and even portable systems. And the first one that I'm going to talk about, believe it or not, is a go-to system. I just happened to pick this up at a recent convention this past year in 2024, and that's the PS1 and the one with the screen on it. Because this is something I could sit in the living room and get the full console experience without having to be sitting in front of a TV. I could set this on my lap with a controller and play all the great library of PS1 games that are out there. And even though it's not technically a handheld, it's still a portable gaming system that I find as being one of my favorites, that if I want to play some of those games, I have that ability. Next up, I have a plethora of Game Boy and Game Boy SPs, but the first one I'm going to talk about is got to be my all-time favorite, and that is this Game Boy system. This is completely recapped. It's got backlighting. It's more modern, and it has the ability, you can change colors with the back screen. You know, it's a fully working Game Boy, and it has the ability to see through. Right now I have Kirby's Dream Land in it. That's what I've been playing on it. I love this. This is my go-to handheld when playing Game Boy. And I never had Game Boy growing up. I'll get to the gaming system that I had that was a portable growing up. Like a lot of you, I had the Tiger Electronics, but an actual gaming system that I could switch the games out of that was portable, I'll get to that. I even have an original Game Boy. This one still works, nothing's wrong with it, but I wanted to keep it original. This is how the Game Boy came. It plays perfectly fine, but I wanted to keep it this way without modding it, so that's another system that I had. Also, I have a Game Boy Color. This is perfect condition. In fact, when I got it, it was brand new and sealed, and I know the sealed collectors are going to lose their mind that I opened it for this, but yeah, I wanted to have a Game Boy Color that I could play with. Another system that I actually bought, believe it or not, complete in box, sealed, is this purple Game Boy Advance, and this is the completely matches serial numbers, everything. I get it out from time to time to play it, but it's not backlit, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, ugh. So I do have that. I had it as a teenager, but it's not one of my favorites, but it is something that I have an option for. One that was one of my favorites is the Game Boy Advance SP. This is a foldable one you can put in your pocket. I love doing that, being able to put a Game Boy Advance game in there, throw it in my pocket, take it with me wherever I went, and have the ability to have a backlit screen and do gameplay right in my pocket. So I thought that was cool. And funny enough, Nintendo came out with one of these micro Game Boys, which Game Boy Advance. I never had this growing up. I never had this as a kid. I had just learned about it when I started collecting, but I actually have one of those, which is really, really cool. And I still play it from time to time just to see what it's like. All right, we're gonna move along and we're gonna check out some of the other handhelds I have. The PSP was something I never had growing up, but this was something that I wanted to get because it is the Darth Vader version, the Star Wars version. This was something that I got a really, really good deal on for complete box. You can see here's the box, comes with the game and everything. But when I bought it, this front plate was all scratched up. The plates in the back were all scratched up, and I actually found replacements, and it was pretty easy to change. So the screen is no longer scratched up. I'm able to see it and play it. Very good. It was something that I wanted to play that I never had as a kid, and I wanted to get it and start building a collection of PSP games, which I did. I didn't build a lot, but I have probably a good 20 or 30 games. But again, just, you know, to experience and have a handheld from the PlayStation era, right? Now, something else that I didn't have as a kid, but I have today, is the Atari Lynx. Now, this is the very first version of this system, and let me see if I have batteries in it. I might not have batteries in it. I don't like to keep batteries in these consoles because, yeah, I don't have batteries in it because of the acid leaking, you know, with temperature changes. But this is one of the wider versions. This was the version 1 release. I got this completely recapped. The sound works, everything works perfect in this. The screen is the only thing that they're very hard to come by to replace the screen, so it still has the original screen, and they said the screen is really, really good on this. So I was just glad to have it working. I probably have a handful of games, probably like 7 or 8 games for this. And then I also have a multi-card, if you will, if you look in there, that has all the games. So it's something that is on my list of getting more games for, but I never had this growing up, and it was something that I wanted to get, and now I have it. All right, something I picked up after I had gotten married, iterations of this, and I did sell the other one that I had, which at the time I wasn't collecting, so what do I know? But I picked up the 3DS XL. This was the newer one that had the little joystick here in the corner. I don't know if that, they just called it the new 3DS XL. I had the old 3DS XL. I didn't play this a lot because it was like discontinued after, but my old one I played an awful lot. I even have a game in here. What was I playing? Oh, it has the, it's a multi-cart. Has all the games on it. And I have a ton of 3DS. Between my kids and I, we have a ton of 3DS games. I bet you we probably got 200 or 300 games. So 3DS was really big when I had gotten married and I had been playing with my kids. And that was the system I picked up. But then I got word about this system. This is the PlayStation Vita. This was a system that I had picked up, again, after we're married. It's probably not charged. I charge these every like month or two. And then what happens is the battery wears down. After sitting here, it gets cold, it gets warm. I mean, it stays pretty decent in the basement here, it's finished basement. But the PlayStation Vita, I do have it kind of jailbroken where I can play a lot of retro games on it. Before I got another handheld, I was playing some of those games on it. But the really coolness factor, if you will, of this was before the PlayStation Portal, was having the ability to remote into my PlayStation 4 and play the games remotely on this. The only hiccup was if it involved double left and right buttons, your bumpers, your L1, L2, and R1 and R2. I was kind of stuck because this only has L1 and L2. But all in all, this is a great system. I have a complete in box here. So for me to pick that up, my two favorite go-to ones, besides your Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation Portal, I have those. You guys don't need to see that on video just because you're watching this right now, you probably had it too. One of my all-time favorites, and I never had this as a kid, is the Turbo Express. And the Turbo Express, I do have a multi-card in here, but it's something that I always wanted as a kid and never got because it wasn't popular. And this was something that I just, you know, nobody had. Like all my friends didn't have this. I'll get to what my friends had. They either had Game Boy and another system. I'll get to it. But I picked this up completely recapped, got it recapped. All the sound works, brand new LCD in it. So it basically, you know, encompasses the whole area, not just the small area that it has. It's really a joy to play. And this is honestly one of my favorite consoles right now to play. Let me turn the volume down here. I'm like shouting over it. This is honestly one of my favorite systems to play. It's in very good shape. I did pay for it. I paid a good price for it, but it's one of the systems that I can play the TurboGrafx 16 games as well as the TurboGrafx 16 CD games, because I don't have that system yet, the TurboGrafx CD. But this system, a lot of people love to play this, and it's a conversational piece when people come over because they've never seen it. What about you? Have you seen this? Have you played it? What do you think? All right, now, one of the systems that I had that growing up is this, the Sega Game Gear. This is still one of the originals that we had as a kid. This one here, my brother actually brought his out, and I got it completely recapped, brand new screen, new plate over, it's not even scratched. He didn't want it anymore, and so I wanted to keep one. Mine got lent to a family member a long time ago, and I never had gotten it back. So I was older at the time, I didn't really care. But this is what we got for Christmas the one year, because my dad was like, well, if I'm gonna pay for a handheld that you can switch the games out, why not be color? That was the big debate back then. It wasn't Nintendo versus Sega. It was, well, for the same price or a little bit more, I can get you a color handheld as opposed to the black and white. Now, the problem with it was Sega didn't have the games that we felt Nintendo had. Nintendo had Mario. Everything was Mario, right? Sega had Sonic the Hedgehog, but all in all, this is a great system. Being able to get this, again, this is one of my prized handhelds because it's recapped, because it's got the brand new LCD in it, and there's a lot of nostalgia with this because it was a system that I had as a kid, and this is one that's going to stay in the collection. And it was cool when my brother came over and he got to play it, and you know, in its glory, because it's so much nicer than what it was when we were kids, but we still had it. We loved it. So this was a system near and dear to my heart. The Sega Game Gear, you know, ranks up there as probably my favorite handheld next, you know, growing up. That's in my top 3 currently of retro systems, and that's not counting the Switch or the PlayStation Portal. My all-time favorite would have to be the TurboGrafx handheld, the Turbo Express. The Sega Game Gear would come in second, and third would be this, my third favorite, and I have it hooked up to a special portable battery. But this is the Sega Nomad. Basically, this is a Sega Genesis that's portable. What do I mean? Okay, so I have a multi-card in here that can play just about any game, and you're gonna see here I've got Bubsy loaded. I can literally hook this up to a TV and play it as a Sega Genesis. You can plug controllers into the bottom here and play a game on that and hook up your controller, or you can play it handheld mode, which is cool, which is how I do it. I use this power brick that I have, and I just power it that way because I don't have the adapter for it. I haven't found it yet, but this is completely recapped. I have a brand new shell for it, and it's been recapped, re-LCD'd, everything, and then I just keep a multi-card in it to play, you know, whatever I want. So those 3 right now are my top 3 portables that I really, really enjoy and are my favorites. Again, I have the Portal, I have the Nintendo Switch, I know the Switch 2 is coming out, but as far as retro goes, those have got to be my favorites. If you're watching this, maybe you're thinking, huh, that's not bad. Okay, the final portable that I have here for retro gaming has got to be the Neo Geo, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be, you know, in disagreement with this. I like the handheld, and I know a lot of people don't like this, but the Neo Geo X, this was limited edition, and right, I usually keep it docked and it plays up on this TV that's right here. As you can see, it turned off. But this thing, as the battery gets old, I probably have to open it up and, you know, put a new battery in it. But this thing's cool for a portable Neo Geo experience in a handheld. This is actually really cool. So I just stick it right here in the dock, and then I can close the lid. The dock looks just like a Neo Geo system, AES system or MVSS. So it's great. All right, out of all the retro consoles that I showed you, the handhelds, what is your favorite? Do you have a big library of portables? Do you have a big library of games for your portables? What's been your favorite? Do you have the similar favorites that I have? Let me know in the comments below. Leave it, like it, share it out, and until next time, guys, keep it buzzing. I'm gonna go play some games.